Captain Ju Park sat in her command chair, eyes fixed on the strange patterns flowing across the main screen. The small exploration ship Horizon drifted through space, engines humming quietly as it approached the Kepler 438 star system. For 3 weeks, they had followed this mysterious signal, hoping to make a discovery. "Any progress understanding it, Dr. Han?" she asked. Dr. Taehyun Han ran his fingers through his dark hair, examining the data with tired eyes. "It's definitely not natural, Captain. Someone made this signal. But it doesn't match anything we know." The bridge crew worked silently at their stations. 8 humans, far from Earth, following a mystery into unknown space. Lieutenant Mina Song looked up suddenly from her communications panel. "Captain, I've been studying the pattern. There's something odd about it," she said, her voice rising with excitement. "It reminds me of old Earth ship codes, like what sailors used long ago. But different, like it changed over time." Captain Park nodded. "Keep working on it. We'll know more when we arrive." The ship made its final jump, the stars blurring briefly before settling into new positions. Before them, floating in the blackness, was a planet with swirls of blue oceans and green landmasses. It looked remarkably like Earth, though it orbited a small red star. "Scan the planet," ordered Park. Dr. Han's fingers moved quickly over his console. His eyes grew wide. "Captain, this doesn't make sense. I'm reading life signs. Many of them. And..." He paused, checking his readings again. "They appear to be human." "That's impossible," said Navigator Sunwoo. "We're the first humans to reach this system." "Prepare the landing shuttle," Park decided after a moment of thought. "Dr. Han, Lieutenant Song, you're with me. We need to see this for ourselves." The shuttle broke through clouds as it descended to the surface. They had chosen to land near the strongest signal source, which appeared to be a settlement of some kind. Through the windows, they could see structures that looked like buildings, arranged in patterns around a central area. "This is definitely a civilization," Dr. Han said, checking his scanner. "And these readings still say human, but with some differences." When the shuttle touched down in a clearing, the crew sat in stunned silence. Through the viewport, they could see people gathering at a safe distance. They looked human, but not quite like the humans the crew knew. They were shorter with slightly larger eyes. Their skin was a uniform golden brown, and they moved with unusual grace. "They've adapted to this world," whispered Dr. Han, "over many generations." Captain Park stood, straightening her uniform. "Let's meet them. Song, bring the translator. Han, keep scanning. Remember first contact protocols." The air outside was warm and smelled of unfamiliar plants. As the Earth humans stepped out, the gathered crowd murmured. From among them, a figure stepped forward, clearly a leader of some kind. He was older, with streaks of gray in his hair, wearing robes decorated with intricate patterns. The leader spoke, his words completely foreign to the Earth crew. Lieutenant Song activated her translator, which struggled to process the unknown language. "It's trying to find patterns," she explained. "It might take time." Dr. Han stared at his scanner in disbelief. "Captain, these are humans. Their DNA has some mutations, adaptations to this environment, but they are definitely human. This is impossible." The translator suddenly produced broken words. "Welcome, Sky people. Return long." Ancestors spoke. The leader smiled and placed his hand over his heart in a gesture of greeting. Captain Park did the same. The crowd's tension visibly eased. "Ask them how they got here," Park whispered to Song, who adjusted the translator to attempt communication. After several attempts and much gesturing, fragments of understanding emerged. These people called themselves the Hana people. Their ancestors had come from a world called Earth, brought here long ago by sky giants in massive ships. They had stories passed down through countless generations about their original home. "They're human colonists," Dr. Han said in amazement. "But we have no record of any colony ships coming this far. and they say this happened thousands of years ago, before we had space travel. As the sun began to set, casting long shadows across the settlement, Captain Park realized they had stumbled upon something that would change human history forever. These weren't aliens. They were lost family. "We need to learn everything we can," she told her crew. "Something or someone took humans from Earth in ancient times and brought them here. And if there's one lost colony, there could be others." Finished song, her voice filled with wonder as she watched the Hana people preparing what appeared to be a welcome feast. The Hana people led Captain Park and her crew to their main settlement as the twin moons of Siam rose in the darkening sky. The village sat nestled between rolling hills and a wide river, with structures made from living plants shaped into homes and community buildings. "We call our world Siam," explained Doyen, the young leader who had welcomed them. The translator converted his words with increasing accuracy as it learned their language patterns. In the old tongue, it means island among stars. Dr. Han looked at his datapad with amazement. Their language has roots in ancient Korean, words and grammar that evolved over thousands of years in isolation. Elder Suho, a man with deeply lined face and bright eyes, walked slowly toward the Earth visitors. He wore a robe covered in symbols that glowed faintly in the darkness. "You have finally returned to us," he said through the translator. The stories were true. Captain Park shook her head. "We didn't know you were here. We had no idea humans lived beyond Earth until today." This caused a ripple of surprise among the gathered Hana people. Suho gestured for them to follow him. "Then you must see our memory house. You must learn what your people have forgotten." They walked to a large dome-shaped building at the center of the settlement. Inside, the walls glowed with a soft blue light that seemed to come from within the material itself. The center of the room held rows of crystal-like structures, each the size of a human hand, arranged in careful patterns. "Memory crystals," Suho explained, touching one gently. "They hold our stories, our history." As his fingers brushed the crystal, it brightened, and images appeared in the air above it, crude but clear holographic projections showing people gathering, looking up at the sky in fear and wonder. "Our ancestors were taken from Earth about 4,000 years ago," Suho said. "Great ships came from the stars. They took many people from villages along a great peninsula." Dr. Han's eyes widened. "The Korean Peninsula, before Korea even existed as a nation." Suho nodded and touched another crystal. New images formed, huge vessels and strange tall beings guiding humans aboard. The Skytakers chose many. The journey was long. Some died. Others were born in the great ships. When we arrived here, the Skytakers taught us how to survive, then left. They said they would return, but never did. Captain Park watched the images with growing wonder. Who were these Skytakers? Why did they bring humans here? "We do not know," said Doyen. "Our oldest stories say they called themselves Guardians. They said Earth would face great dangers, and that humans needed to be preserved in many places among the stars." Lieutenant Song had been quietly scanning the memory crystals. "Captain, these aren't just data storage. They're partially biological. Living tissue combined with crystalline structures." Dr. Han moved to examine the technology. "Remarkable. Their technological development took a completely different path from ours." He turned to Captain Park. "Instead of metal and electricity, they developed biological technologies, living computers, organic machines." As the night deepened, the Hana people prepared a feast to welcome their visitors. Tables were set with foods grown on Siam, fruits with vibrant colors, breads made from local grains, and dishes that resembled Korean cuisine, but with unique differences. Dr. Han continued his examinations of the Hana people with their permission. "They physically adapted to this world," he told Captain Park quietly as they ate. "Their chest cavities are wider to process the slightly lower oxygen here. Their skin has developed reflective patches to protect against the radiation from the red sun." Across the table, Doyen raised a cup in a toast. "We always knew others remained among the stars. Our stories tell of the homeland, of Earth. We have waited for this day. Later, as the celebration continued around them, Navigator Jihoon approached Captain Park. He had been studying star charts with some of the Hana astronomers, comparing their knowledge. "Captain," he said, his voice low and urgent, "they have stories about other human colonies. Their astronomers track strange signals from 7 other star systems that they believe might be human settlements." Captain Park stared at him. "You're saying there could be more lost colonies out there? More humans taken from Earth thousands of years ago?" Jihoon nodded. "If these sky-takers, these guardians, took one group of humans and planted them here, why not do the same elsewhere? We could be looking at an ancient preservation project spanning the galaxy." Captain Park looked out at the celebration, watching Earth humans and Hana people sharing food, stories, and knowledge after thousands of years apart. 2 branches of humanity, evolved differently, now reunited. "Then we need to find them," she said firmly. "All of them. If humanity was scattered among the stars, it's time to bring our family back together." Doyen approached them, somehow sensing the weight of their conversation. "Tomorrow," he said, "we will show you our ships. They cannot travel between stars like yours, but perhaps together, we can reach the others." The morning brought clear skies over Siam. Captain Park stood with Doyen at the edge of the settlement, discussing plans to combine their knowledge and technology. Dr. Han and several Hana scientists were already working together, sharing discoveries with excitement. Lieutenant Song's voice suddenly came through Park's communicator. "Captain, unknown ships approaching from the outer system." At the same moment, strange plants throughout the settlement began to change color, shifting from green to bright red. Doyen looked alarmed. "Our warning system," he explained quickly. "Something dangerous is coming." They ran to the command center the Horizon crew had set up. On the screens, 5 crystalline ships approached, angular vessels that seemed to be made of interlocking geometric shapes that glowed with inner light. "They're not responding to hails," reported Song. "They're charging weapons." The first attack came with blinding speed. Energy beams struck the horizon in orbit and cut through the atmosphere to hit the settlement. Buildings shook. The living structures of the Hana homes rippled as they absorbed the energy, but some collapsed. "Get everyone to safety," Park ordered. Battle stations. The Horizon returned fire from orbit, its weapons more advanced than the attackers expected. The crystalline ships scattered, regrouping at a safer distance. In the settlement, Doyen activated their defenses. Living walls grew rapidly around key areas, forming protective barriers. Dome-shaped shields made of the same material as their memory crystals spread over groups of buildings. "Lieutenant Song, any idea who they are?" Park asked as they watched the enemy ships maneuver. "I'm picking up transmissions," Song replied, adjusting her equipment. "They call themselves the Guardians." Park and Doyen exchanged looks of surprise. "The same Guardians from the ancient stories?" Park asked. Doyen nodded slowly. "It seems they have returned, but not to help us." The translated message finally came through. "Human divergence must end. Reunification will not be permitted. Surrender for relocation or face elimination." An emergency council formed quickly in the protected central building. Captain Park and her officers met with Doyen and the Hana leaders. "They've been watching us all along," Doyen said gravely. "Both Earth and Siam. Now that we've found each other, they've decided to act." "But why?" asked Dr. Han. "Why separate humans and then attack when we reunite?" Elder Suho touched one of their memory crystals. "Our oldest stories say the Guardians argued among themselves about humanity's future. Some saw great potential in us, others saw great danger." Another attack rocked the settlement. The Horizon reported damage to its outer hull, but was still fighting. "We need a plan," Park said firmly. "The Horizon has better weapons, but limited ammunition. We can't win a long battle." Doyen nodded. "Our defenses can absorb energy and heal damage, but they cannot attack effectively at orbital distances. Engineer Hyunju, who had been quietly listening, suddenly straightened. What if we combine our strengths? Your biological technology with our targeting systems. The idea sparked immediate interest. Working rapidly, teams from both groups began adapting the Hana's energy-absorbing crystals to work with the Horizon's weapon platforms. We'll absorb their energy attacks, explained Hyunju. Store that energy in your crystals, then redirect it through our targeting arrays. As they worked, the Guardians launched another attack. The settlement shook, but the living shields held. The Horizon reported more damage but continued fighting. 6 hours into the battle, the new hybrid defense was ready. Crystal arrays were positioned around the settlement, connected to targeting computers from the Horizon. When the Guardians attacked again, the crystals absorbed the energy, but didn't just block it. They channeled it, stored it, and then released it in precisely aimed counterattacks. The first Guardian ship was hit with its own energy, amplified and focused. Its crystalline structure cracked along key points, light spilling from the fractures. "It's working," shouted Hyunju as the teams watched their displays. The Guardians, confused by this unexpected defense, intensified their attack, which only gave the hybrid system more energy to use against them. Captain Park opened a channel to the Guardian command ship. Doyen stood beside her as the video feed activated. "This is Captain Juu Park of Earth and Leader Doyen of Siam. Humanity survived being scattered among the stars. We will survive you as well." The Guardian commander, a tall, angular being with crystalline features, responded coldly. "Humans are unpredictable. Reunification creates unacceptable risk. Yet here we stand," Park replied. "Two branches of humanity, separated for thousands of years, working together in perfect harmony after only days. Perhaps what you fear isn't our danger, but our potential." The battle raged for 8 more hours. 2 Guardian ships were critically damaged, their crystalline structures fractured beyond repair. The others continued fighting, but with diminishing effectiveness. Finally, after 14 hours of combat, the Guardian ships broke formation and retreated toward the edge of the system. "They're leaving," Song reported with disbelief in her voice. The settlement erupted in cheers. Earth humans and Hana embraced, celebrating their shared victory. Captain Park placed a hand on Doyen's shoulder. "This is just the beginning," she said quietly. "They'll be back, or they'll try to stop us from finding the other colonies." Doyen nodded. "Then we must be ready, and we must find our other lost families before the Guardians do." After the battle, the settlement entered a period of rebuilding. The damaged buildings regrew with surprising speed, their living materials healing themselves. Earth crew members watched in amazement as structures that would take months to repair on Earth fixed themselves in days. Captain Park established a temporary base in the settlement. The Horizon remained in orbit, undergoing repairs with help from both crews. A new mood of cooperation and excitement spread as both human groups began to truly learn from each other. In a large building near the center of the settlement, Dr. Han sat with Jaya, the lead scientist of the Hana people. Between them on the table was what looked like a clear cube containing swirling patterns of light. "So this can store medical information?" Dr. Han asked, carefully touching the cube's surface. Jaya nodded. "It holds the pattern of healthy human cells. When someone is sick, we use it to guide their body back to health." She demonstrated by placing her hand on the cube. The lights inside shifted, responding to her touch. "It reads your body's current state and shows what needs to change." Dr. Han shook his head in wonder. "On Earth, we treat illness with chemicals or surgery. Your way is so different." Later that day, he reported to Captain Park. "Their medical technology is incredible. They can program living tissue the way we program computers. If we could bring this knowledge back to Earth, it would change everything about healthcare." Across the settlement, Engineer Hyunju sat with a group of fascinated Hana technicians. She had set up a small quantum computer from the Horizon and was explaining how it worked. "This uses the strange rules of very small things to solve problems," She explained simply. One part can be in two states at the same time. One of the Hana technicians, Daehyun, pointed to their memory crystals. Like our memory stones, they exist in many states at once, holding many memories together. Hyunju looked surprised. Yes, exactly like that. You've been using quantum principles all along, just in biological systems instead of electronic ones. The exchange of knowledge flowed in both directions. The Earth crew taught the Hana about advanced metallurgy, space travel beyond their solar system, and digital communication. The Hana taught the Earth humans about biological engineering, sustainable energy harvesting, and their unique way of farming that worked with the planet rather than changing it. One evening, Captain Park found Doyen standing alone, looking up at the stars. The settlement was quiet, with small lights glowing softly from the living buildings. "Your people have created something beautiful here," Park said, joining him. Doyen smiled. "And your people have created wonders we never imagined. Perhaps this is why the Ancient Ones separated us." "What do you mean?" "The Ancient Ones who took our ancestors may have had a purpose," Doyen explained. "By placing humans in different environments with different challenges, they allowed us to develop in different ways." Park considered this. They were preserving different aspects of human potential. "Yes. Our oldest legends speak of guardians who became divided in their purpose. Some wished to guide us, others to control us. Perhaps these guardians who attacked us were once protectors who lost their way." Later that night, Navigator Ji-hoon worked late in the makeshift command center. He had been comparing the star charts from the horizon with the astronomical observations of the Hana people. On his screen, a map of nearby star systems glowed with colored markers. Captain Park entered, carrying 2 cups of the sweet drink, the Hana made from local fruits. "Any progress?" Ji-hoon looked up, his eyes bright with excitement. "Captain, I found something." He pointed to 7 points on the map, each marked in red. "These star systems all have conditions similar to Earth and Siam, planets in the habitable zone, specific radiation patterns that would support human life." "That's interesting, but not." And Ji-hoon continued, "Each one has unusual signal patterns that we previously classified as natural phenomena. But after seeing the Hana signals, I reanalyzed them." He pressed a button, and the computer played a sequence of pulses. "They're communications, Captain. Different from Earth's and different from Siam's, but with underlying patterns that suggest human origin." Captain Park set down her cup, staring at the map. "Are you saying what I think you're saying? 7 potential human colonies, Captain. 7 more branches of humanity, scattered across this section of the galaxy." Ji-hoon's voice was filled with wonder. The Guardians didn't just take one group from Earth. They took many, from different times and places. Park touched the nearest red dot on the map. "How far to this one?" "With our jump drive." "About 3 months' travel." Ji-hoon hesitated. "But Captain, the Guardians will likely be watching these systems too. If they attacked us for finding one colony, they'll try to prevent us from finding others." Park finished. "We need to prepare, and we need to warn Earth." The next morning, Captain Park called a meeting with Doyen and the other leaders. As they gathered around a large table, she shared Ji-hoon's discovery. "We believe there are at least 7 more human colonies out there," she explained. 7 more branches of our family, waiting to be found." Doyen looked at the map, then at the faces around the table. Earth humans and Hana, now working as one team. "Then we must find them before the Guardians can stop us. Together." The horizon floated in orbit above Siam, its repairs complete after 3 weeks of work. Inside, the crew moved with purpose, preparing for their journey back to Earth. The ship's cargo holds were filled with treasures beyond value, biological samples, memory crystals, and detailed plans showing how the 2 human civilizations had developed different solutions to similar problems. 5 Hana people stood on the bridge, watching their home planet through the large view screen. They had volunteered to travel to Earth as ambassadors. Each carried personal memory crystals containing the history and knowledge of their people. Minji, the youngest ambassador at just 22 years old, pressed her hand against the cool glass of the view screen. Her world looked so small from here, a blue-green marble hanging in blackness. "What will your people think of us?" she asked quietly. Lieutenant Song looked up from her station and smiled warmly. "They will be amazed, just as we were when we first met your people. Your civilization has done incredible things on its own path." Captain Park entered the bridge, checking final preparations for departure. "Is everyone ready? We jump in 30 minutes. Before the final departure, the crew had one last task on the surface. The Horizons shuttle descended one more time to the main settlement, where both groups had planned a special ceremony. In the central garden, people from Earth and Siam gathered in a circle. At the center stood Captain Park and Doyen, holding a small container between them. Inside was a seedling, an earth oak tree that had been modified using Hana biological techniques to thrive in Siam's environment. "This tree carries the strength of Earth and the adaptability of Siam," Doyen said as they carefully planted it in the prepared soil. "May it grow tall and strong, just as our renewed connection will grow." The Earth crew and Hana people took turns adding soil to the planting. When finished, the Hana scientists activated a small crystal that would help the tree establish itself quickly. "This marks the beginning of a unified human future," Doyen announced to the gathered crowd. "We are different branches of the same tree, growing stronger together." Captain Park looked around at the faces, some from her crew, some from this distant colony of humanity. Just weeks ago, they had been strangers. Now they were family. "When we return to Earth with news of your people, it will change how humans think of themselves," she said. "And when we tell them about the other possible colonies, it will change our future." Back on the horizon, final preparations were complete. The 5 ambassadors had settled into their quarters, adapting quickly to ship life. Captain Park sat in her private office, recording her final log entry before departure. "We came searching for alien life and found ourselves instead," she spoke clearly into the recorder. "Humanity has more variations than we ever imagined. The Guardians feared our reunion, perhaps with good reason. United, there may be no force in the galaxy that can stop human ingenuity and determination." She paused, looking at the star chart showing the 7 potential colony locations. "We're going home now, but our journey has just begun. Earth needs to know what we found, and we need to prepare for what's ahead. The Guardians will try to stop us from finding the other lost branches of humanity. We must be ready." The Horizon's engines powered up, the familiar hum building throughout the ship. On the bridge, Navigator Jihoon plotted the complex jump sequence that would take them back to Earth. "Course plotted, Captain. Ready when you are." Park nodded. "Take us home." The ship turned gracefully away from Siam, accelerating toward the jump point. On the view screen, the planet grew smaller, a blue-green jewel against the blackness of space. 6 months later, a much larger ship prepared for departure from Earth orbit. The Unity was twice the size of the Horizon, built with combined Earth technology and Hana biological elements. Its hull contained living components that could heal damage, while its weapon systems incorporated the energy-absorbing crystals that had proven so effective against the Guardians. On the bridge stood a mixed crew of Earth humans and Hana colonists, working together at stations designed for both their traditions. Captain Ju Park sat in the command chair, reviewing final preparations. Ambassador Minji, now an official navigation specialist after months of training on Earth, stood at the helm. She had adapted quickly to life on the home planet, becoming a bridge between the two cultures. "Course set for the Tav CD system," she reported. "That's where the strongest signals are coming from." Captain Park nodded. "All departments report ready." The crew confirmed their readiness. Earth's governments had united behind this mission after learning of the other potential colonies and the threat posed by the Guardians. The Unity carried the best of both worlds, Earth's advanced technology and Siam's biological innovations. "This is Unity Actual," Park transmitted to Earth Control. "We are ready for departure. Unity, you are cleared for launch. came the response. Good hunting. Find our lost family. As the massive engines powered up, Park and Minji shared a look of understanding. What had started as a routine exploration mission had become something much more important, a quest to reunite the scattered children of Earth. The stars ahead seemed to stretch as the jump drive engaged. The Unity vanished from Earth space, beginning its journey to find the other humans. The end.